Hello guys, it's your boy Nattle. So today we're making a guide video. It's not like my last guide video in that it's not going to be a complete guide to the class. It's more so going to be an update to my last video. And I'm updating 3 sections, which is talents, covenants, and legendaries. These have changed slightly since my last video, and I wanted to make an update because I've had a lot of questions about these. So I want to put my thinking forward and tell you guys what I think about these 3 topics. Rotation and stuff like that won't be in this video. If you want to learn more about my rotation, I suggest that you watch my point of view videos where I put commentary over what I'm doing, or head on to my stream and look at the rotation there, or just look at the last video that I made, because everything I said there about the rotation still applies. And yeah, if you want to see it played in action, you should come to my stream at twitch.tv/Nattle. So without further ado, let's get into the video, guys. Now we're going to go over the talent section. So for Mythic Plus, my talents look like this. And for single target, my talents look like this. The reason I play it like this is because it sims the best. So quick draw, I use that in Mythic Plus because it sims the best. And there's no other option here, really. In Mythic Plus, I use acrobatic strikes, and I use this for everything, actually, not just Mythic Plus. So it increases your auto attack range by 3 yards, so it lets you stand outside of an AoE, for example, and still hit the mob or whatever. Makes it easier to dodge things and easier to keep a good uptime on the boss or the mob, which is really important. In the third tier, I pick Mark for Death for everything, because it sims the best for everything. For single target, it sims the best with ghostly strikes. It only sims slightly higher. I'll show you the simulations in a minute here. So it only sims slightly higher. So if you want an easier option, you can pick Deeper Stratagem Quick Draw for single target. And it's a little bit easier that way. You have less buttons to press. But I like the Marked for Death and the Ghostly Strike because that keeps me at 5 combo points. That way I don't have to think about, do I have 6 combo points or do I have 5? Because I'm very used to having 5 combo points as my maximum from doing Mythic Plus, so that's why it's just easier for me to have Mark for Death always on. But yeah, it also sims better ultimately, which is why I play it. So for the 4th tier, I pick Sheet Death because sometimes you die and get hit by something you shouldn't have, and sometimes someone else lets you get hit by something you shouldn't have or whatever. So Sheet Death is very nice to have. For the 5th tier, I use Dirty Tricks because Gouge, Gouge is very useful to interrupt something or to stun something, or yeah, it's just a very useful ability, and having that free is really good. Then you can use that a lot. Prey on the Weak is also a decent option, but I find myself kidney shotting mostly off targets that I'm not actively DPSing, so that's why I don't pick this. For the 6th tier, there's only one option, Alacrity. It gives you haste when you perform finishing moves. The other options are irrelevant. In the last tier, we have Dancing Steel, Blade Rush, and Killing Spree. Killing Spree is unusable because it locks you to the target, so you can actually die from that. In my last single target section, I said that Killing Spree, you should play that. The reason I said that is because it seems higher, but it locks you to the boss, so it's too dangerous to use it. So I would just go for Blade Rush for single target and multi-target. However, for multi-target, you can pick Dancing Steel if you feel like your Blade Rush uptime is really bad. However, this is a significant DPS loss to Blade Rush, so I would very much recommend you to play Blade Rush if you have the ability to do so. Then we're moving on to the simulations here. This is my single target simulations. As you can see, Ghostly Strike and Mark for Death sim 31 DPS higher than Deeper Stratagem. And the reason I play this combo as well is because, as I said, 5 combo points. It's nice for me to always have 5 combo points as my maximum, because otherwise I end up finishing at 5 combo points when I should have finished at 6, because my brain thinks 5 is my maximum because I'm so used to playing Mythic Plus. So that's why this combo is really, really nice for me. And as you can see, it also sims the best. Then we're moving on to the Dungeon Slice simulation. And for the Dungeon Slice, we have all the different combos here. Marked for Death, Deeper Stratagem, and Vigor. There are quite a lot of high-rated rogues on Raider.io that play Deeper Stratagem or Vigor, and I think that's wrong. You shouldn't do that just because they're doing it. The reason they're doing it is because they have trouble pressing Mark for Death, because a lot of people actually think you need to min-max Mark for Death for it to be worth it. You need to min-max, you need to like use it on low HP targets and get resets all the time. And that's really hard to do in high keys, I admit that. I don't usually do it. I just Mark for Death my main target. But even if you just Mark for Death your main target without maximizing it, it's still better. And I'll prove it to you right here. So this is a 5 boss target simulation patchwork. On boss targets, the bosses never die. They're up the whole minute. 1 minute, 5 bosses. And we don't have any raid buffs here. And as you can see, Mark for Death is quite a lot better than the other ones, even without any resets. So on a 1 minute fight on patchwork, 5 boss targets that never die. So if you don't get any resets for 1 minute, this is still better by quite a lot, actually. 439 DPS better, which is, yeah, I'd say quite a sizable amount of DPS. So I would pick Mark for Death 100% always. You should disregard whatever anyone else says to you about that, because this is the truth right here. Mark for Death is the best for Mythic Plus and for raiding if you play Ghostly Strike. Now we're going to talk about Covenants, Soulbinds, and Conduits. So as of next week, we will be 21 Renown, so that is where our starting point will be. At 21 Renown, Kyrian is the best with Pelagos on single target, and Necrolord is the best with Emini on multi-target. As you can see here, Pelagos is the best by 200 DPS over the second one. And if we go to Hectic Ad Cleave, we set the Renown to 21. Emini is the best by 200 DPS, give or take, over Pelagos. So, at the current Renown, Necro is the best for multi-target, and Kyrian is the best for single-target. At max Renown for multi-target, max Renown which is 35, Emini is the best with about 120 DPS, and Khorane slowly follows, that's Night Fae, and then comes Kyrian with Mikanikos. So, they're all about the same here for multi-target, except Venthyr, which is quite a lot lower for multi-target. So the only one that I wouldn't recommend is Venthyr for multi-target at max Renown. Then we have Casting Patchwork here, and we've set it to 35. There we go. Ninja from Night Fae is the best at about 160 DPS better, at exactly 160 DPS better than Kyrian. And all of the Kyrian ones are pretty close, so here I think it will be about preference, maybe which one has the best defensive, which might be Kleia at this point, but we will see a little bit what will end up being the best here. But Night Fae, followed by Kyrian, followed by Venthyr for single target, right? Single target raiding. So all of the Covenants are pretty close. The only one I would say is for multi-target, I would not pick Venthyr. But other than that, you can pick basically anything you want. They're all pretty close. Necrolord is pretty weak on single target compared to the other ones. So if you decide to go Necrolord for Mythic Plus, then you have to accept that you will get quite a big disadvantage in single target raiding. Compared to Mythic Plus, where they are really strong. So all the Covenants have their little niches, and they're good at different things and all that. I would suggest picking a Covenant that you like. They're all pretty close. I would suggest picking one that you like, and picking one that will boost your group a lot. I felt that I was playing with too many Night Fae people all the time, so that's why I ended up going Kyrian. I'm thinking about maybe going Necrolord, because there's not a lot of Necrolords around, and the buff, you also buff your teammates with main stat. And Mythic Plus is my big calling in World of Warcraft, so we will see. You might see Necrolord Nattle at some point, but currently we're playing Kyrian, and we'll see how that continues forward. So for the Conduit, we can pick Conduits here. You can see that Count the Odds is quite a lot better than anything else you will get. I will pick Kyrian up here because I am Kyrian. This is single target. Count the Odds is a lot better than anything else you will get. Pointed Courage, Bronze Call to Action, and Combat Meditation are all soulbind traits. They're not actually like conduits that you can put into your tree. The second one you have that you can actually put into your gear is sleight of hand, like potency conduit, not into your gear but into your tree. This is something that you put in yourself, the potency conduit. And sleight of hand is not even half as good as count the odds. So there's really only one good trait, one good conduit for Outlaw. Sleight of hand is pretty good. It comes in pretty close there on second place, but yeah, it's the difference is quite big. Let's put it that way. All right, so we'll go to hectic ad cleave now. We'll swap to 35 for the conduits, and here you go. So for multi-target as well, sleight of hand is not even half as good as count the odds. So count the odds is just an insane conduit that you want to play always. And then your second conduit, you should probably pick sleight of hand. And what these abilities do is that count the odds, which is your really good one, it makes it so your ambush and dispatch have a 21% chance to grant you a roll the bones combat enhancement buff you do not already have for 5 seconds. Duration and chance tripled while stealthed. That means that if you are hitting a lot of dispatches and ambushes, which you will be, then you have a chance to get additional roll the bones that you do not already have. As you can see here, I hit with an ambush. I already had skull and crossbones and buried treasure, and I got broadside for 15 seconds from my count the odds. And that's because the duration and chance is tripled from stealth. But you can also, of course, proc them while just doing your normal rotation. So that's super strong. The second conduit that we're gonna pick next week when we get Renown 21, we're gonna pick a second conduit as Kyrian. Then we're going to pick Sleight of Hand. Roll the Bones has a 14% increased chance of granting additional matches. These two, they synchronize very well, because Count the Odds will give you buffs that you do not already have, and Sleight of Hand will give you more buffs. So they synchronize pretty well there. So I think this combo will be very strong. But yeah, Sleight of Hand is not as good as Count the Odds, that's for sure. So that's it for Covenants, Conduits, and Soulbinds. Basically, for Covenants, just pick what you want, pick what you really want to play, and all of them kind of perform the same with some differences depending on what you're doing. Soulbinds, I mean, just pick whatever is best for the Covenant that you are. And the Conduits are basically Count the Odds is the best, and Sleight of Hand, you kind of take that if you need to pick two, you will pick Sleight of Hand. But yeah, Count the Odds is just so much better. Last but not least, we're going to go over Legendaries. So the legendary power that you want to pick for everything that you do in this game is the Celerity one. It makes it so your Adrenaline Rush increases your damage by 8%, and you also have a chance to gain an Adrenaline Rush effect for 3 seconds when Slice of Dice is active, which is all the time. So this legendary is amazing. We pick this for everything we do. It's just great. And we choose to put that on the ring instead of the shoulders. I said the shoulders in my last video, but we did put it on the ring. The difference is so minimal between these two options that you can really put it on whichever one you prefer. I've had people put it on the shoulders because they already had 2 good rings, for example. They had bad shoulders, they had good rings. Or I've had people put it on the ring because it's harder to get 2 really good rings. And there is also another fact, is that there are a pair of really good shoulders that drop from the second to last boss in Castle Nathria with versatility and crit. They're perfect. So since these shoulders exist, then, and there's no 233 ring with bis stats that exist from the raid, then I would say that the ring is the best option for your legendary. But the difference is so small. Otherwise I would have made a video about it earlier to like stop people from crafting it on the shoulders, but the difference is so small. It's like a 10 DPS difference, maybe less than that, you know? It's not a big deal at all. But I chose it on the ring because it is slightly better. Also because I'm hoping for those shoulders, those juicy shoulders from Stone Legion generals at some point. So that's the reason I did that. There's also the legendary that is the Master Assassin legendary. While stealth is active for 4 seconds after breaking stealth, your crit chance is increased by 100%. It's the old legendary shoulder legendary. This one is not really that great in comparison to the celerity one. I crafted it because I wanted it for sub for PvPing, but as an outlaw, you don't really use it. You should use celerity for everything that you do. Celerity is just so good, nothing comes close. So that's it for the legendary section of this video, and that also concludes the video. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I tried to make this kind of short, but it's hard for me to make a short video because I just like talking about rogue stuff, and I have so much to talk about, and it's like these questions to answer, like what is the best covenant? It takes me a while to get there because there's so much to unpack there. There's so much to go through. It's not an easy answer. Like you can't ask a hard question and expect an easy answer. It doesn't work. So I hope that I answered these 3 topics for you guys, and I hope that I answered some of your questions. But if you have more questions, I would love to hear from you in the comment section of the video and on my stream at twitch.tv/Nattle. So thank you for watching the video, guys, and take care.